jumped over were
Yes. Interesting.
there.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Village of Pont Edward, Ontario Provincial Police Detachment Board meeting. This is Friday, March 27th, and we are meeting today at 3 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask if there's any declarations of pecuniary interest known by any members.
None.
None here. None. Thank you.
None, no.
Thank you, Mayor Hand.
None,
Mayor
no.
is joining us from vacation, so we appreciate your participation today. So,
I was like you say Mary Ann.
oh, did I?
I'm like, change your name.
She's at Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
Professor. Yeah, so with the previous meeting minutes have been circulated. Does anybody have any questions or concerns about those minutes?
I move to pass the minutes.
Yeah, please do. Louis has moved
Seconded.
adoption of the minutes and Doug has seconded that. All in favor? Thank you. Next item on our agenda would be the OPP Detachment Board report for January and February of 2026. So I'll turn it over to Inspector Stewart for your comments.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Our reporting period is January, February for 2026 for this report. I will say that year to date, we have within Point Edward, we have dealt with 268 occurrences. That's actually down quite a bit from previous years. We're seeing a reduction there. 268 this year compared to 347 last year and 385 the previous year. So that's despite not seeing a reduction in our proactive enforcement and an increase in our rides. So our proactive work is up. Our reactive calls for service are down, which is good news. So I was quite pleased to see that. From the standpoint of motor vehicle collisions, we have dealt with 3 over the course of this reporting period, all of them property damage only, so no injuries related to those. As we move through the report, and granted, what I will speak to today is for January, February, but also full year to date because it is the first report of the year. So, year to date, we've laid from a charge standpoint 9 criminal charges that are non-traffic related. So those are things that are not included in impaired driving or dangerous driving. Those 9 charges, I'll speak to some of those in a moment, but they are property crime related in regards to a couple of theft investigations. So, and from a Highway Traffic Act standpoint, 8 provincial offense notices laid during the course of January, February. I will say this is traditionally the slowest time of the year for proactive enforcement, generally speaking, because of weather. Weather will impact our enforcement 2 ways, really. One, you can appreciate if it's a blizzard, it's not safe for anyone, the member of the motoring public or the officer, to necessarily be pulling over vehicles if they don't need to. But 2, generally speaking, snowy conditions will cause people to slow down. So we've only laid 8 this point. We will see that in 2024, there's actually 49 to date for the first 2 months. I looked into that and made a very specific initiative back then over the course of that time period. So, and that was focusing on the big 4. So that's why that looks like a little bit of an anomaly from 2 years ago. But I will say that those 8 charges are pretty consistent with other years prior to that. So
Thank you. Louis has a question of
Inspector, it has to do with the ride program. A situation of officers. When Light Street goes into St. Clair on that curve there.
yes.
They had a ride program there about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And I heard a couple of people, they came up to me and they asked if that's really a bad spot because it's really tight there. And when you're coming from Light Street onto St. Clair, you cannot see if they're in front of the bar. So they're coming up to them very quick, and they think they can put any person there in danger. It's just that it's just very, very tight. Move up 20 feet, 30 feet. Like so that,
Like just move a bit from the corner. Yeah. I will say we are very strategic with where we do our rides. One thing we won't do is a ride 50 meters down the road from the bar. Because everybody coming out of the bar will see it and they'll turn and they'll go the other way, and it's a self-defeating thing. We also want to be able to control to a degree that once a person sees a ride, they don't have the opportunity to turn off and take off down the side street. Although we need it to be safe for sure, we also want it to be very strategic so that once we have eyes on that vehicle approaching us, we're gonna have an interaction with that car, so.
well, thanks for the answer. Strategic
but-
is, no,
But certainly, it still has to be a safe location, so I will.
they were looking at more from a perspective of safe.
Yeah.
Not, you know,
Yeah, I'll make sure that that's sort of reiterated to our supervisors so that they're always sort of watching that type of thing, so. Yeah, it's a good point.
oh,
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you. Thank you.
One thing I will touch on though is that we've arrested 2 impaired drivers in the village already this year. One from a ride stop, one from a regular traffic stop for no seatbelt. Which is an increase from previous years. We don't have a lot of impaired drivers here in the village. Am I concerned that there's an increase in impaired driving? No. We know that we can, let me start that over. The days of us being surprised pulling an impaired driver off the road at a Tuesday morning at 9 AM are gone. There's no longer, it's not just a Friday, Saturday night. So we know, my point is we know the impaired drivers are out there on the roadways. And when I see that we've gotten an impaired driver out of a ride, that tells me that it's in a good location. And that our officers are doing because we do know that they're out there on the roadways, so. Speaking to ride, we have done 11 rides during the course of January, February, which considering some of the weather that we faced, that's actually not too bad.
Was that 11 in the county or 11 in the?
11
village?
specific to the village.
Okay, nice.
And we will certainly be seeing an increase in that as the weather gets nicer, and as people are out more too. As we talk about violent crime, specific to the village, we did deal with one incident of violent crime during the course of this reporting period. It was in relation to a threat that was uttered. It was an intimate partner violence related investigation, and an arrest was made in relation to that. So, if you're looking under the violent crime portion and you see that is specifically what that is. Of course, no homicides during this reporting period, nor did we have any of the more common types of calls that we will see traditionally, sexual assaults and assaults. None of those either, just the one classification as a violent crime. I would like to talk about property crime just for a moment. You will see that continuing with the trend that we talked about in the 2025 summary, we continue to see property crime decrease, which is a very good news story. No break and enters during this reporting period. You will see that we did have one theft over $5,000 that occurred. This was a theft that happened from one of the hotel parking lots from a pickup truck. Where the back of the truck, the cab was broken into and a large volume of power tools was stolen. I'm very pleased that we made 2 arrests very quickly in that, and we recovered the property as well, and were able to return it to the owner. So
That's great.
although I never like seeing these types of occurrences happen, it is an unfortunate reality. It is very nice when we're able to make a quick arrest and return that property to those folks. So. And when I was talking about the criminal charges that have been laid, those charges come from that particular incident, showing some, the majority of them come from that, so. We also had a theft under 5,000. That was in relation to a local business where items were going missing from some of the desks at the business. Our officers did become involved and were able to identify who the person was that was responsible for that. The items from the desks that were stolen were all returned to the individuals, and at the request of the business, charges were not laid. They chose to deal with it internally, and we honored that request. But nevertheless, we were able to get the items back and solve that matter. How that's been dealt with internally, I don't know. We've sort of stepped away from that. So,
Okay, thank you. Mayor Hand has a question,
Okay.
Inspector.
So thank you. It was back to the one with the theft over 5,000 and the quick arrests. Is that somehow published or communicated out? Because it's a really good message for people to know. Other than this meeting, I mean, is there any kind of publication of such a fact?
no, that's a great question. And there was a media release that Constable Robertson did in relation to that incident. So,
Okay, perfect. Thank
was-
you.
Mhm. And I agree that that's important for folks to know that. So,
Does,
Mhm.
if the media don't pick up on it, it goes nowhere. Did she
Yeah.
copy any of us on her media releases for the village? I don't recall ever getting them.
no, she does, but certainly.
I don't remember seeing it,
If we could,
Yeah,
we
that'd be
could see.
great.
but I don't think I've ever seen it.
I can certainly make that happen. For
Okay,
sure.
please.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
Wave pen. Make it happen.
And that is the trick. If media decides, well, this isn't going to be the story of the day, then sometimes it never gets disseminated out despite our best efforts, right? So,
And in the same light, if it comes to us, we have 5 people that are well connected to the village.
Yeah.
Who
We can get it out.
can talk, even when we're communicating with people, right? Pat?
absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yeah, great. From a drug crime standpoint, no drug crime over the course of the reporting period. And in fact, in speaking with our street crime supervisor who oversees property and drug related crime investigations, there is nothing to that they're working on currently within the village from a drug standpoint. So that's good news. That's obviously something that we monitor very closely. Traditionally, what we have seen is where we do have drug related charges, it's typically possession, and quite often it's cannabis readily available to the driver. So although that's concerning, there's a difference between that and trafficking in fentanyl. So it's someone having the cannabis too close to them within their reach in the car. But for January, February, we have not dealt with anything drug related in the village. So that's good news.
0 since 2024.
You will see that when you look at our patrolling hours, our patrol hours are down a little bit from previous years. That is a number that I want to see come up. And that our foot patrol numbers have actually increased. And we did see a really nice increase between 24 and 25 in that. But again, a little bit of an increase for 2026 as well. I jumped ahead, people.
I've got you far right.
Yeah, back up just. No, sorry, you have to continue to scroll down, please. Keep going. Oh, okay, back up. A bit more. Yep, right there. There we go. So if you look at our foot patrol in 2024, 17 and a half hours of foot patrol. But then last year it goes up over 50 hours and this year over 54 hours. So trending in the right direction. Certainly well acquainted with the need and the desire for foot patrol in this community, and I agree. And that's something we want to see those numbers continue to grow, especially as the nice weather comes. That trail will be a focal point for us for the summer for officers on foot as well as on bicycle, as well as the businesses along Michigan there. I want the officers out there in the middle of the night rattling the doors to make sure they're secure, and for folks driving by to see our officers out on foot. So,
Kendall Street too.
Kendall Street as well.
And thank you, because I know we've raised this and it's nice to see it going up. So please pass on to the the officers that we appreciate, like that they're getting committed to foot patrol and we're noticing it, and you know, not only in the stats, but also just observations. So
Thank you.
and this is like, as we said, this is a village that appreciates that aspect of
Yeah, the
policing.
visual's
Yeah,
important.
yeah.
It is important, and I look at Point Edward a lot like the community out in Eastern Ontario that I was part of is Sterling, which is now OPP land, but you know, they wanted grassroots policing, or like they wanted their officers to be walking the beat in the middle of the night, literally pulling on businesses' doors to make sure it's secure, and I get it. I love that, so it does work, it does.
It's the old Mayberry trick.
But it's true, like if you're driving through a community that you're planning on doing a B&E in the middle of the night and you see a black and white pull over somewhere, and then you see sort of a flash of light and there's the officer walking and pulling on a door, you're going somewhere else you're gonna still do something,
Mhm.
but in all likelihood, it's gonna be somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it sends a really good message, and it's value for money. So,
It's like you said a couple at the last meeting also, it's like the officer in the arena having a coffee with the people there.
Yeah.
It does two things, makes them aware that they're on their beat. The second thing, they're approachable.
Yeah.
Which is most important.
absolutely. Totally agree, yeah. And then just moving on to mental health, which will be the next page, I believe. Yeah, here we go. You will see that, you know, really static, not a lot of mental health related calls during this reporting period. The one thing that I will say though is, just last week, in December, we were notified that we were approved for the MCERT grant to fund the program for the next 3 years.
Good.
However, we didn't have signatures from the ministry, so that puts me in a difficult position because until the money is sitting in the account, I'm not willing to spend it, as you can appreciate. And so thank goodness that we have good partners at CMHA who are gracious and allow us to be sort of wait. They often will fund the program while we wait for the grant money to come in to pay back the salaries. So we're grateful for that relationship. The good news is that the grant's approved for the next 3 years, and the program's going to continue. Frankly, I don't ever see us going back to not having that. If anything, it'll be an expanding program. But that program does continue Monday through Saturday from noon until 2400 until midnight. Yeah, Monday through Saturday. So very effective program, not only here, but in the county. So
Are they including any extra hours on with this 3-year thing, or is it the same as what it's at right now?
our funding is to maintain what we have. If funding was not an issue, and if probably more importantly, recruitment and retention of those workers was not an issue, I would have one embedded on every platoon. And it would be 24/7, and they would work with the same shift. The shift would get to know those workers, and probably one of the nice byproducts would be that when a particular officer's having a bad day and you work with that person all the time, that worker's going to see that, and then you've got the benefit of the mental health wellness. That's not just for the community, but for the shift. If funding and recruitment was an issue, that's where we would go, but yeah.
So Mayor Hand has a question on
Okay.
this as well.
No, it's a comment. So at my Blue Water Health Board meeting 2 nights ago, one of the improved stats is ambulance offload time. And the improvement directly relates back to the MHART team. And the way the ambulances work now, that they were able to make those improvements. And the other improvement was Blue Water Health is now #1 in the emergency department, over 64 out of 64 hospitals in processing, and along with these ambulances. So it's really paying off.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And I mean, the benefit from a policing standpoint is any mental health apprehension is a minimum 2-officer call. And you know, we had those times back in the past where our officers, if the ER was really busy, you'd have 2 officers sitting there for 8 hours waiting to see a doctor. And that's not criticism of the hospital, it's just the reality of the situation and the workloads. But unfortunately, when those officers are sitting in the ER, they're not out on the street. So the benefit that we've seen as an organization is the officers getting back out doing patrol sooner. So it's good. From a major crime standpoint, really, again, not a lot that has taken place during this reporting period. What I will say, I'll highlight just two incidents. An incident from December of 2025, where there was the report of a sexual assault occurring here in Point Edward. That investigation is ongoing and is preparing for court, where a 21-year-old male and a 22-year-old female have both been arrested and charged in relation to that. So that came up in December of 2025. I only mention it because it is directly related to Point Edward, and it's an ongoing investigation that does continue to consume some of their time as they prepare for court. The other incident that I will speak to is criminal harassment at the Point Edward Arena that happened in January. It is a domestic or an intimate partner violence related investigation. And this is an investigation that's actually been turned over to Sarnia Police Service. Because what we have discovered is, although there was some criminal harassment that occurred allegedly occurred locally, there was a tremendous amount that happened within the city. And given the volume that happened in the city, it makes sense to pull the two together as one investigation. So we provided our information to our partners in Sarnia, and they are continuing that investigation. But apart from that, our major crime unit, again, for January, February, has had very little calls in the way of calls for service or investigative follow-up. So again, good news. I wanted to provide an update on a couple of other items. As we can all appreciate, queuing out on the 402 from the bridge continues to be a concern. I've seen it this week, even as I've gone back and forth, and the backlog of trucks continues to be something that is quite concerning. As you're aware, we back in August started an initiative called Operation Safe Approach. So I wanted to provide council with an update regarding that. So since the initiative started at the beginning of August, we've laid a total of 576 charges specific to either trucks involved in the queue, skirting around the queue, or high-risk driving behaviors associated to that queuing. For example, reversing down the highway, turning around, driving the wrong way on the highway. Those types of things, 576. However, for this reporting period, 144 of those. So despite it being January, February, at times poor weather, we are still out there on a daily basis actively enforcing this. I was actually I know that our officers are out there, I hear it over the radio, but 576 charges, I was taken aback from that, I have to admit. That is a tremendous amount. We continue to message it through the media and on social media. And as evidenced by these numbers, it continues to be a concern. So it will continue to be a priority. So,
If the trucks are backed up to Modeland and they're blocking the ramp, are charges laid or something happened to the trucks for blocking the ramp?
not for blocking the ramp, you can't, because there's really no alternative for them or anywhere for them to go at that point.
They can't just leave a space.
Well, that would be the polite thing to do, but under the Highway Traffic Act, there's really nothing that we could enforce that with. Yeah.
Should be a law that you can't block a ramp.
I have noticed an increase in signage about no trucks in the left lane, and the last backup, I noticed the left lane was completely clear all the way up by Bowland and Airport Road, so they are staying predominantly single file.
No, that's good feedback. We've also at times put an officer in the toll booth for the fast lane. Because what we have seen is some truckers will skirt the line and then plead ignorance when they get to the toll booth. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Meanwhile, they've saved themselves 2 hours. And then, of course, when an officer is in the booth, that provides an opportunity for some education, and then they get turned around and go back to the back of the line. So And that's not meant to be, it's not meant to be mean, it's meant to be deliberate to change that behavior. Because what happens is it generates frustration with everyone that's being patient and in line. And that frustration turns into other things that isn't helpful for us, so.
It's a shame you can't tell all the guys in line and stuff, they go by like the overhead sign saying, the guy that drove past you got turned back. you
Yeah,
know?
that's right,
Yeah.
so,
They probably hear it.
but
Yeah.
we
Over the
will
radio.
escort
Yeah.
them on the highway with the lights on, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
if they're paying close attention, they'll be like, oh, there goes, that
Yeah.
or that red commercial truck or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's the officer
That's sort of
escorting
the
them
back.
to the
That's,
back.
that's
And then,
solid.
of course, they chatter on the radio too.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So, it is very effective. I can tell you with speaking with Mr. DeDecker over at the Bridge Authority. Unfortunately, their people in the toll booths take a lot of abuse at times from folks. And they very much value when we have a uniform there, and it's comical because, as you know, Sergeant Hogue is very passionate about traffic enforcement, and he will quite often just stand in the background out of sight and then present himself when needs a conversation. So it's very effective, and again, our partnership with the Bridge Authority is outstanding, and we're grateful for it. And this is one way for us to support them. So a lot of good work being done.
Doug has
Just to follow up on that, is it, not to put any onus on the employees of the bridge, but that's something they can't individually enforce at that booth either? Like, can an employee not just say, I can't take your money, you have to turn around, like, just, that's something they just can't, are unwilling to do, or?
I don't know if they can't do it. I would
I mean,
suggest
not that I don't want-
they're unwilling to do it.
Right.
Whether it's the folks that they have manning those booths are not comfortable doing it.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not,
And then I would suggest the other, what if they say no, right? And then like, now what are you gonna do?
the arm doesn't go up.
And so, yeah, I think it's probably more an unwillingness to do it. Yeah. Mhm.
And it's like ride within the industry, they never know when, once word gets out that there's a chance there's a police officer in the booth, then they will not do it as often because you never know when they're gonna be there.
The good thing is there's an officer in a booth, but the sad thing is there's too many people that plead ignorance.
Yeah.
And I think. the
to a
most
well-
effective is what you
Yeah.
described, where you escort them back, you give them a parade, and
Yeah.
that's about it. Then
They go back to
Even-
the end of the queue. Yeah.
even the stupid ones begin to understand after the third or fourth time.
Well,
But-
and when they've wasted, an hour of their day by going up to the booth, and now they're pulled over, and now they get some paperwork, and now they're escorted to the back. I would suggest it's a very minimal chance that they're gonna try it next time, right?
So I understood there's a fine with it too.
Oh, most definitely there is.
Yeah, so there's a fine penalty and a time penalty.
How much is the fine?
I'm not sure, but I know with commercial trucks and the regulations. The vast majority of those charges can go against the driver, as well as the owner of the company can also get a ticket for the same thing. Which also has an element of being self-correcting too.
And I also understand that charges on a CVO are more impactful than
Oh, yeah.
just demerit points as a driver, right?
It's an excellent point, and that is true.
Mhm.
It's impact under fleet insurance as well, so. I've seen it I've had a conversation with the owner of Herb Trucking, which is a large trucking company out of the Kitchener-Waterloo area, and at the time, I want to say they had 400 units on the roads. And his fleet insurance was such that if one of his drivers got a ticket, it impacted his entire fleet insurance. So then he had a difficult time. So they built it right into the employment contracts as to what would happen from your employment status would be terminated if you got a ticket, an avoidable ticket. So, and that just becomes one of those things that they're just not prepared to have it affect their CVOR in a negative way.
It's the largest refrigerated truck fleet in Ontario.
What was that? Okay.
Anything else in your report that you want to?
Just one other, a couple
Yeah,
other
go ahead.
things. I know at our last meeting, there was a request for additional patrols around the DMI building, so we have been doing that. I don't have any statistics with regards to parking tickets associated to that, but our members have been out doing that. I was also requested to coordinate some anti-bullying presentations. So I'm quite pleased to say that on February 23rd, we did presentations at Bridgeview for grade 5, 6, 7, and 8s. A number of presentations there. We also completed a fraud prevention seminar on March 11th. Even though it's outside this reporting period, it's still worth mentioning. That was at the library here in Point Edward. We just completed some presentations on internet safety for the kids at the Bridgeview Public School. And then we're also planning ahead for the May 6th Age Friendly Expo as well. So I did want to talk about overtime. As the board will recall, we had a discussion in our 2025 year review about overtime and the importance of monitoring that from my standpoint, as it directly impacts your bill. And I was pleased to report we were down 9.7% on the 3-year average. And I'm very pleased that year to date, despite there being quite a bit that's gone on across the county, from a county standpoint, we're down another 0.5% year to date. So we continue to trend in the right direction. Never at the expense of public or officer safety, of course, but some of those things that we talked about last time, like end of shift overtime, that's maybe not necessary. That's having a positive impact, I think. So that's good news. And the last thing that I would say for Chairperson Grimes, you will be getting an email from Chief Tibb from West Region Headquarters. They are coordinating on June 10th to have all of the boards in West Region come to regional headquarters for a day. The Deputy Commissioner is going to be there. And they just want the opportunity to interact with all of the board chairs, provide you with some information, Q&A, those types of things. So watch for that to come through your email for June the 10th. Apart from that, barring any questions, that's my report for today. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Any questions directly related to the report that we haven't asked?
It's very detailed and very well done.
Yep.
Motion to receive and file that report.
I will.
Moved by Carolyn, seconded by Louis. Thank you. Under new business, item 2 is the false alarm report. Any questions on that? Seeing none, motion to receive and file that. Louis moved and Bev seconded it. Mayor Hand seconded it. Thank you.
That's
Item
fine.
3 under new business, or Mary Ann seconded.
Hey, Mary Ann.
Under new business, the community engagement report. Inspector Stewart, you want to just walk us through that?
Sure. Yeah, it's what you'll see with the community engagement report. It's very high level as to a snapshot of some of the items that have been put out in it. You will see there is some Point Edward items in there, but also across the county. Everything from anti-bullying to fraud presentations to media releases. It is not comprehensive of every single one, but it's meant to give a snapshot as to some of the messaging that's going on, and what we're deeming to be important in the moment, not only from a crime awareness standpoint, but also just the, sort of the good news and fun stories that humanize our profession a bit. So lots of good work being done. One of the things that Constable Robertson and Constable Campbell just finished was over March break down on Walpole Island with a group of about 20 kids from Walpole in that community, doing a kids camp for 5 days, where otherwise those kids might not have the opportunity for camp. So,
Oh, that's it. That's great.
yeah, so just some great work team. So
And all the pictures were lovely. There was far too much snow in some of them, but that's okay.
indeed.
Yeah. Okay, any questions or comments on that? Yep, go ahead, Mary Ann.
I have a comment, or I have a story to share. So while I here on vacation the other day, I'm walking down the street and I see, many police cars. And I thought it was in the parking lot at the bank. And I thought, oh, so I keep walking. That's quite interesting. But it turned out to be coffee with a cop.
Mm-hmm.
So they set up in the parking lot and they had a table with coffee and treats and officers there to talk to. and they had another thing of dog treats. As people were walking up, they could get a dog treat. And I talked to one of the officers, and he said they've been doing them every couple of weeks in this community and moving to different parking lots.
Mhm.
And I thought, it's not expensive. At the booth, they had some brochures and different officers manning the booth as well. So you could stop, say hello, ask questions. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and we've done a few of those. We don't do it every couple of weeks by any means, but it is very effective and it's very well received.
Yeah,
Um,
coffee with a cop.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've gone to them in Middlesex before. I've gone to one here in Lambton as well since I've been back. Like I said, we don't do it regularly, but it's very effective. It's always well received. So, yeah,
It goes back to what you said earlier.
absolutely. Yeah,
I could see something like that set up in the arena parking lot sometime.
yeah, we can absolutely do that.
Okay, anything else on community engagement? It is nice, people are more open to talk in an informal setting, like walking into Tim Hortons and seeing a couple officers there that are openly engaging with people.
Mhm.
People will come up and talk, but like, it's that less formal interaction that,
Yeah.
Well, we have some good coffee shops on Michigan Ave and Point Edward
we
now.
do, yes, yeah. Okay, motion to receive and file the engagement, Carolyn and Louis, seconded, thank you. Item number 8 on our agenda is the review of the financial statements, which are at the back of your package. Any questions or comments on that?
Just a more
Yeah,
question.
go ahead.
Probably just a misread because of the old year into the new year, but it says the line about OPP paid duty ride program zeros. Is that just, it's an end of year thing and it just hasn't started the new fiscal year? Am I just, or just, there were no paid ones, they're just duty? Like
We
they're
just
considered
had
on
it,
duty.
so we were waiting for funding to be given for our 2026 paid duty rides.
Okay,
And so in the next report, I'm sure you will see them
Yeah.
because I know they're being updated.
So I
And then,
believe,
yeah,
though, they're not being funneled, they're all being funneled through the Lambton detachment, though.
They all go through the
That won't show up on our statements
oh,
anymore,
I see, okay.
neither an expense nor a revenue.
Yeah, years ago, we got our own grant and our own.
Mhm.
Now it's part of your.
Yeah, and you're right, with regards to it being run by the detachment now, but we've just received our funding for 2026, so. I know Loren's busy trying to fill all of those, because I send emails every day to try and fill them up to get people out there.
Right.
So,
Regarding financial statements, so when I was speaking with Ron Leclerc, as far as the OPP Detachment Board and the new Community Safety Policing Act, the board is supposed to be presenting a budget or an ask to the village for our operating. So it's fairly standard what we've had over the years. But I think at the next meeting, we may want to just look at our budget and any line items that members think that we need to add. And I also thought if we could arrange a tour of the detachment, I don't know how many of you have been in there or not, but then you could just give us a quick tour and identify any like areas that officers raise as possible shortcomings or anything that,
Improvement areas.
yeah, it could be included in the budget, so.
sure.
And anybody can give us the tour, but I mean, either after the meeting or set up as a separate, we may just funnel out of here after our next meeting and just go over and.
Field trip.
Yeah,
Great
field trip,
idea.
yeah.
Yeah.
And just so we can see where the officers are working, what their,
Concerns.
yeah.
Well, and if we do it right after the next meeting, that's something I can put out to the members now
Mhm.
to get their feedback and see, we can sort of have that already sort of prepped and we can talk about those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
When we do that.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
easier to talk about it right there where you see what they may be talking about. So.
Sure. I
Okay.
love it.
Okay, so that does anything else under financial budget like that? No? Okay. Next item is our next meeting date. That's when I always defer to Jim.
May 28th, Thursday, May 28th, 9:30. would be the regular.
Does that work for everyone?
At 9.
We have our technical liaison that day, Jim, as we often do, so if it could be 9:30.
Yeah, that's, we've decided to make the regular starting time 9:30.
Okay,
Okay, so 9:30, and then we'll follow it up with the tour of the detachment afterwards.
I'll bring coffee and donuts.
Okay.
To the detachment.
Okay.
After we leave this, I'll bring that.
don't come empty-handed.
You're good.
And
at
then,
handling.
just following up on our mid-season review of your
With the
performance,
team.
we agreed that that was gonna be a separate meeting?
Correct.
Is that-
Yeah, in
so-
June,
Like
like,
in June, okay.
yes.
Okay. And do we want to schedule that now, or do we want to, because May 28th will put us close to the month of June?
Sure.
I think it'd be a good idea to schedule it now.
I've been told I'm not available June 10th.
So we're looking at the month of June.
Why?
Is it?
I have to go there.
Oh, yeah, I'm like, why? What are you doing June 10th?
We get any breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
People
So
are used
towards
to
the
meeting-
end of June is
Yeah.
probably ideal.
Yep.
So
People are used to meeting on Thursdays, so maybe the 18th or 25th.
The 25th works if we do it at 9:30.
Yeah, same here. That works for me. also.
June 25th.
I have a board of directors meeting for the Conservation Authority, but
What time is it at?
that's at 10 in
Okay.
Strathroy.
Mm.
I could, if we move to the afternoon, like it's usually
Yeah,
done,
there's
but
no merit, there's no magic to doing this at 9:30. We could.
no.
Yeah,
We do this,
But then I have a laws meeting that starts at 12. But if it's 1:30 or something like that, I'm free.
how about 2 o'clock,
Yeah, that would likely work.
June the 25th?
25th, 2 o'clock.
Does that work for you, Ross?
it does indeed, sir. Thank you.
Because we'd like
Okay.
you there.
Good.
Where are you?
I'm away.
All right. Okay. Do you want to, would you be okay if we continued on and you gave us your comments?
You go right ahead.
You sure?
I'd love to give you my comments.
Well, we could, if you want to feel like involved, we could have the
If I can
Marine,
find internet, I will log in.
no, we'll have the Marine unit come check you out
You
while you're
will be-
fishing.
I got everything. I got everything.
We'll see.
Yep.
Yeah. right.
Okay.
I do.
Okay, so we have both our next two meetings are scheduled then, and great. And so I just want to make sure we're clear on the performance thing. So we at the 25th are presenting our comments, right? Or our mid-season check-in, is that
That's correct.
okay?
That's correct. Yeah, you'll have them done for that meeting. You present them to me, we'll have a discussion around it. I will leave that meeting, have the opportunity to fill out the section on my response, send it back to you for you to respond back to my response, and then we move on.
To the next response.
So from a process, I just want to make sure, if it's all right with all members of the board, I'll do up a first draft. I'll send it out to everybody before the May 28th meeting, and then we can give
Comment
feedback,
accordingly.
bring
Discuss
comments
Monday
back.
morning.
Yeah, or you bring comments back beforehand if you want by email or at the 28th. But not as part of the open
Right,
meeting. It would
right.
be done.
Yeah, in
Yeah,
camera.
yeah, but if you have any feedback, bring it back and then we'll present it as part of the June, so, okay,
It's all good.
okay. So we're looking for a motion to adjourn.
I will do that.
Marilyn will second it by the person that's not here. Caroline, Marianne. All right, thank you, Bev. Thanks for joining us. Off to the water park.
Okay,